Welcome back to my channel, guys. In today's video I'm going to be talking about my surgery. 2 weeks ago tomorrow I got my tonsils removed and I wanted to tell you guys about my surgery experience. This was the first surgery that I've ever had, so it was definitely a little nerve-wracking for me, and I also will be inputting some videos from me on anesthesia. It was honestly really funny, but I will talk about that a little bit later. I am also going to say that I am coming from a Christian perspective, so I believe that a lot of my surgery and the healing process was because of prayer. I had so many people praying for me, and prayer still works. That is definitely something that I've noticed through my walk with Jesus. My story for my surgery actually started a couple days before I actually had surgery. So I started preparing for my surgery a couple days ahead of time. And so I posted on Instagram. I was like, hey, can you guys pray for me? I'm going into surgery, or just keep me in your thoughts. And a couple people responded back to me, and they were like, hey, I just want to let you know my experiences with the surgery. And they were like, you're going to be in a lot of pain. And so I was preparing myself, and I was like, I know I'm going to be in a lot of pain, and I feel like my recovery wasn't as bad because I mentally prepared myself that I was going to be in a lot of pain. And then I also asked my church group to pray for me. We have a little group and we just send prayers all the time for each other, and we just pray over each other and pray for each other. My mom posted on Facebook that I was getting my tonsils removed, and I can't even tell you the amount of people that commented back to her and said that they were praying for me. And I am just so blessed for that and so grateful that that many people were looking out for me. And I've never felt so loved in my life than from that moment. The night before my surgery, I prayed to God that He would give me love and peace and comfort, because I was honestly really, really scared. And if the doctor even said, if you're not scared for surgery, then you've had too many surgeries and you are not normal. But I like to say that I'm not necessarily scared of death itself, because I know that when I die, I am going to go to someplace that's better. But I was scared to die. It's very rare to die from getting your tonsils taken out, but there still is a chance that it could happen. So I was just praying, and I was like, God, do not take me away right now, because I cannot do that to my family, and they would be a complete wreck, and I would literally never wish that on anyone. I also prayed that I would be in minimal pain, and that He would be working through the hands of the doctors, and that there would be good doctors, good nurses, people taking care of me. And I prayed that it would be super easy and go really smoothly. So I get to the place where they do surgery and everything, and I check in. Granted, I had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Actually, I think we had to leave our house by 5 o'clock to get to the place at 6 o'clock. And then my surgery was around 7:30. So we get there, I had to take a urine sample, which was definitely awkward. It's a little weird taking a urine sample. But then eventually they called me back, and it was weird because I was the oldest person there, because obviously I'm a minor. And thank God I'm a minor and I'm getting this done, because they treated me so much better than they treated my mom when she got her tonsils out. And obviously my mom was allowed to be in the room waiting for me. She wasn't obviously allowed in the room while they were doing the surgery. But I remember going back, and there's kids. There's 3 other kids that are 2 years old in the room. And I go back to my individual room, and I'm just chilling on the bed waiting for people to come and interrogate me. And so the first guy that came in, he was just asking us questions or whatever. And then after he came in, then the anesthesiologists came in. There was 3 of them. And they were absolutely hilarious. I loved them so much. And they were the one that was going to give me my IV and stuff. And so I was just letting you know, I have a phobia of IVs. I'm most likely going to cry when you stick me with it. And he was like, that's fine. I'm probably going to cry too. And it was just so funny. And then when he went to do it a little while later, I was like, I'm just not gonna watch. And he was like, that's fine, I'm not gonna watch either. And I was like, well, I hope you're gonna watch. And then he said that because I was crying, it made him cry. And that was funny because the other guy was like, out of all the years I've worked with him, I've only seen him cry twice, so that's saying something. And then the nurse that was in the room and like taking care of me and stuff, she was like, hey, you're gonna have to swallow these pills so that you can like relax a little bit. And I was like, that's a problem because I cannot swallow pills. And my mom was like, just try, like it's like, you're just swallow the pill. And I'm like, okay, I'll try, but like I'm just letting you know I'm not gonna be able to swallow this pill. So I go, I take water, I put the pill in my mouth, trying to swallow it, and I just literally can't. So she runs and she gets me liquid, and she gave me some liquid, which is literally so embarrassing. She was, after like I swallowed the water and then I spit out the pill, and she was like, oh my gosh, okay, drop it in there. And so I like put it in there and she went and got me liquid Tylenol. Honestly, the IV was probably the most stressful part because after I got the medicine and after I was changed, you have to literally strip down naked and put on a gown. And once they were like doing the IV, they put the first one like right here in my hand, and I didn't like that very much. I ended up with a bruise on my hand, and it's still kind of there, but you aren't going to be able to see it. The IV hurts so bad. Like, it's not like when you get your blood drawn and they're sticking you with a needle and they're getting blood out of you. Like, it hurts a lot. And then they told us that through the IV, that's how they were going to put me to sleep initially, and then once I was asleep, they were going to stick another IV in me, which they ended up putting like in this side vein here. And then they also gave me some more relaxation meds, and they gave me nausea medicine because my mom, whenever she goes on anesthesia, the gas, she absolutely like feels so nauseated, and they didn't want me to do that, so they gave me nausea medicine. And they said that the reason that they wanted to put me on gas is because I'm at the age right now where I need the most drugs to like keep me asleep, because like 17, 18, they said, is when you're the most active and you need so much drugs to like calm you down. So after I was set up and everything was good, they wheeled me into the room where they were going to do the surgery, and this is where stuff starts getting a little foggy because this is when I was like falling asleep. All I remember from when we were in the surgery is they were just like, I was laying in the bed and they started like lifting me over onto the next bed, and I was like totally limp, like I had no control of my body at that point. And so I was laying on the table, and all I remember is that my head went into this like, this is what it felt like. I don't know if it actually was, but it felt like my head went into this like circle thing that was like foam. It felt like my head was leaning against foam, but my head was like sitting inside of a hole, and then there was foam around it. And then the last thing I remember is one of the women in the room, she was like, okay, here's the belt that we were talking about, which she had come in the room and was telling me about like this belt that they were going to put on me. And that's all I remember. And I did have a dream while I was out. I honestly can't remember if it was a dream or if it was real life, but I had a dream that they were trying to put the gas masks on me, but every time they put it on, like there was a hole in it, so I was like breathing air from outside and I wasn't like actually getting the gas. So that was weird. And they didn't count down at all. Like as soon as I got into the surgery room, I was like out. Like they definitely did not count me down. So after the surgery, I went and I was sitting back in my recovery room, and since I was on the gas, they could track when I was going to wake up, like on the screens or whatever. And so they were tracking when I was waking up, and the first thing that I remember, I was still definitely half asleep, but they were like, rate your pain on your hands from 1 to 10, and I said 4. And so they were like, okay. And then I just sat there for a couple more minutes, and then they asked me again. They were like, hey, what's your pain? And I was like 2. And they were like, okay, good. And they were like giving me like medicine and stuff. So that part is like really foggy to me. But the doctor told me that The surgery went really well. He said it was super easy to remove my tonsils because the tissue that was attaching my tonsils to my mouth was really thin, so he said it was super easy to cut it off. Then they got my mom, and she came in, and I was just kind of really, really loopy for the next hour. And the funny thing is I thought that I wasn't going to like remember anything, but I remember everything from the moment when I woke up. The thing is, I was just so loopy and drugged up that I had absolutely no filter. I was just saying whatever was on my mind. It's literally the weirdest feeling because you remember everything, but you have no control of what you're saying. I will insert now some videos and pictures from me on anesthesia.
So what did you say? What's weird?
Is that my eyes feel weird?
Yeah.
Like when I look around, it's like blurry and dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
How are you feeling?
I don't know what to talk about.
How are you feeling?
I just cried.
Aww. Here's a tissue. Tissue. You did great on your surgery.
I look terrible.
Oh.
I hope you enjoyed that. So pretty much in the recovery room, I was just drinking water. I drank apple juice. She kept asking me like what my pain was, and the nurse was so nice. I have to tell you, the people that were in my room with me were beyond sweet, and I'm so grateful for them. They were just like talking through everything with me, asking me questions about my life. The anesthesiologists and also the doctor came in and was like checking on me and to see like how I was doing or whatever, and that was really nice. And the nurse actually told me that when you get surgery like that, typically no one comes to check on you when you're done your surgery. So I just also thought that that was a blessing because they didn't have to come and check on me, but they did, and that just shows me that they were like watching out for me and that they really cared, and I really, really appreciate that. Throughout my hour, it was about an hour that I was like recovering. The nurse said that I was doing really, really well, and eventually I took a walk around the little area that we were. I went to the bathroom, and then I came back to the room and started getting dressed. And then by the time my mom had gone and got my prescriptions and came back, I was dressed and ready to go. And again, I was just like so grateful for the people that were looking out for me. So many people texted me that day, like wishing me well and saying that they were sending prayers my way and stuff. And my dance team actually sent me some ice cream in the mail. I didn't even know that you could buy ice cream online, but they sent me ice cream in the mail, and that just like was so amazing to me and showed that they were like thinking of me and that they cared about me. And then my best friend and her mom, they sent me flowers, and so I had the flowers sitting next to me the whole week, and people were just texting me and checking up on me, and I just felt really loved and really appreciated. So when I got home, obviously I couldn't really do anything, but to be oh my gosh, this is funny because I was really drugged up when I was at the hospital, so I was like in barely any pain, and on the way home I was like talking up a storm. And then when we got home, my dad called my mom, but she was like outside for a second, and so I picked up the phone and I was like, "Hi Dad," and he was like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "It's Jessica." And he was like, "No, it's not." And I was like, "Yes, it is." And he was like, "You are not supposed to be talking." And I was like, "I am feeling great. I can talk perfectly fine." And so I was talking a lot, and that night the medicine obviously wore off, and I was not feeling it anymore. And that's when I stopped talking for about a couple days. But when I got home, I had a bunch of like sermons and stuff that I wanted to watch while I was like recovering and stuff. So I put this one on, and it was talking about rest and how we need to rest from the Lord, I'll read it to you. It's important to rest with God. The devil likes to make us busy to distract us from the Lord. In order for our soul to be satisfied, we need to rest. And I just thought that that was definitely like a calling for me, because I have been so busy all the time. And this was the first time in my life where I've had 2 weeks of just sitting on the couch doing nothing, and it really helped me to value rest and relaxation and how much our body needs it in order to recuperate and regenerate. And in the sermon, it also said that God grants us peace without us having to work for it. And I feel like that's sometimes a thing that people think is like we have to work for peace and love and comfort, but we don't. God grants that whenever. So like I said, my medicine started wearing off. When I got home, my pain was about at a 2, and then it eventually got to like a 5, which was the most that it had been all day. And the only time that my throat hurt was when I swallowed. And that was when it was at a 2, but once it got to the 5, it hurt all the time, like no matter if I was swallowing or not. But it was still so important that I was drinking enough. So this is something that I did all throughout, well, the first couple days I did this, like the first 2 or 3 days I did this, but I kept holding saliva in my mouth because it would just like keep coming out. I also think I was producing an excessive amount of saliva the first couple days, but I would just hold it in my mouth so that I wouldn't have to swallow because it hurt that bad to swallow. And I tried to like make it a game, so I knew that I had to stay hydrated, and I knew that I couldn't hold the saliva in my mouth for the whole time. So every time that I went to swallow my saliva, I would take a drink of water with it so that I was staying hydrated but also swallowing what I was holding. And I definitely did choke on my phlegm a couple times. Like, I couldn't lay back all the way. I had to be seated upright because if I started laying back, I would like choke on my phlegm. And I barely napped at all. Over the course of these 2 weeks, I've only napped about twice. I'm not a big napper anyway, but I thought that I was going to be like sleeping all the time, and that just like wasn't the case for me. I just expected that I was going to be really exhausted from surgery, but I was just like very awake the whole time. Also, guys, my uvula, the thing that dangles in the back of your throat, was humongous. Like, it was touching my tongue. And that's what made it so uncomfortable to swallow, because every time I swallowed, it would like flap and touch my tongue, and it was just so uncomfortable. So that night, I couldn't fall asleep until around 12 o'clock, and I did wake up a couple times because I was either in pain or I was uncomfortable, because for the first week and a half that I was in recovery, I slept on the couch because that's where all my medicine was, and I didn't want to have to come downstairs every single time that I needed to take medicine. There was one point in the night where I was waking up like every 10 minutes. Like, literally, I would fall asleep and then wake up because I thought I had to take my medicine. And every time I would wake up, I would like check my timer to see what time it was and how long it had been since I had taken medicine. And it would be like 10 minutes since the last time I checked it. And I was like, oh my gosh, can I just go to sleep and stay asleep until my alarm goes off? Day 2, my pain reached about a 6. And this day, I was taking the stronger meds. I was taking oxycodone. It was so painful to the point where every time I swallowed, I felt my eyes tearing up, and I would like make cringy faces like that hurts, man. On day 2, I felt like whatever I ate, no matter what it was, I was not satisfied, and I was just hungry all day. Not to mention, when you have a surgery in your throat, it takes a lifetime to eat. It took me probably an hour to eat anything. And it even hurt to like chew food, which was a little weird. This night I got really frustrated because me being me, I was really hungry and I tried eating mac and cheese. And because he honestly said that there were no like dietary restrictions as long as you chew your food up really well and don't eat anything that's like super sharp, like stick to like softer foods. So I mean, I guess there kind of is dietary restrictions. But I got frustrated because I couldn't eat the mac and cheese because it hurt so bad to swallow the mac and cheese and like chew it up and everything. And so I just broke down in tears, and this was the first night that I like ended up crying, even though it was the second night, so like, do you really blame me? And that night I ended up eating baby food. The second night with sleep, my sleep schedule was better. I slept through the night besides when I had to wake up and take my medicine. And at this point I was still sleeping on like a reclining sofa, so I wasn't actually sleeping like long ways. I was kind of like just reclined back. And so the way that I was sleeping, I was like, so if you're like reclined in a seat and then you have like the arm cushions here, I had my feet on like the feet rest, and then I was resting my head on the sofa like arm cushions instead of the like actual like back of the seat. And that caused my hips to like really tighten up, and I also was getting like ear aches, which they said was normal after you have tonsil surgery. I also was sweating a lot. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because it's summer or something, but my whole surgery, I could never get cool. Like, no matter if there was a fan on me or if the house was 70 degrees, I was constantly sweating and really hot. And I also constantly felt like there was like food in the back of my teeth. Not my teeth, in the back of my throat. But I feel like that was just my like uvula. Because it was so big, it constantly felt like there was something like stuck in the back of my throat. And because of my uvula, it felt like it was like hard to breathe sometimes, which is like the weirdest feeling. Day 3 was about the same pain level. I did sleep a little more. I believe I took a nap, and there was a ton of buildup on my tongue. Like, typically when I wake up, I'll just like scrape the like gunk and like the gooey stuff off of my tongue, but like the amount of stuff and like buildup that was on my tongue was absolutely disgusting. I had to scrape it like 5 times to get everything off of it, and I don't really know what it was. I don't know if it was like food or just like how my body was responding to surgery. Like, I don't know, it was really weird. Night 3, I slept a little too well because I slept through my alarm clock to take my medicine and ended up waking up 2 hours later in severe pain. This was probably the worst pain that I was in. This is probably one of the times that it was the worst. And I remember just after I took my medicine, I was like shaking, like that's how much pain I was in, and I was like shivering because I was also freezing. And so it was just like not a good mix, and it was just not a good experience. Not to mention, while I was shaking, I was also super dizzy, and the whole time I was like walking over to like get my medicine and stuff, I felt like I was gonna pass out. Also, I forgot that I wanted to share this, but the day that I got home from the hospital, as well as that one sermon that I read, I also watched Sadie Robertson's postpartum story and like her birth story and everything. It's really awesome. I definitely recommend it. But she said a couple things that really stuck out to me and that really resonated with me since I was in the surgery and recovery process. She said, "Even through the pain, Jesus gives us strength. Time is required for our body to heal, but we can meet Jesus in it. So yes, we need time for our body to heal and recover, but if we pray for Jesus to give us strength, then he will walk with us in our pain." Okay, day 5, I ate a pancake for breakfast and I was pretty proud of myself. I started talking a little bit. This is day 5. I started talking slightly, but I was only like whispering. I thought I was going to be okay with just taking Oxy, and that was a big mistake. Learn from my mistakes. Do not take just oxycodone. I woke up again in severe pain, shaky, dizziness, and I literally was wincing every time that I had to take more medicine. Because I was swallowing pills at this point, and it just severely hurt. Also, this is really disgusting, but I woke up in the middle of the night and I was drooling all over myself. And I have never drooled on myself before, and it was absolutely disgusting. I woke up and I was like, ew. Day 6, This was a terrible morning. This was a continuation of night 5 where I was in severe pain. I physically could not swallow my pills because I was in so much pain, and so I had my mom crush up the pills for me. This was about like 6:30 in the morning. I felt very lightheaded and sick, and my stomach felt extremely bad, and it was weird sometimes because I couldn't really tell if my stomach was hurting because I was like nauseous or if because I haven't like eaten anything, because sometimes when I felt nauseous I would eat and then I would feel better, and then sometimes I would eat because I felt nauseous and I would feel like crap. I decided to sleep all morning to see if I could get my stomach to settle. That did not work. I tried eating a little bit of noodle soup to try to help, and I could barely keep it down. So I remember this is the worst moment of my whole recovery. I was sitting at the kitchen table trying to eat, and I was like, I can't do this. I am literally gonna throw up. But I wasn't saying that because I could barely speak. And so my dad was on the phone with my mom, and he was like, "Where's the nausea medicine?" And she was like looking through the he was like looking through the cabinets or whatever, and he found it. And then I was like, "Dad, I need the trash can." And so he pulled the trash can over to me, and I like felt it coming up, and I was like, "I need the nausea medicine right now. Like, I need it right now." And he gave it to me, and I like took a shot of that thing real quick, and I like literally went, and I like went to throw up in the trash can, and nothing came out. It like, I felt it come up and then it like stopped. And because I hate throwing up, I don't think anyone likes throwing up, but I especially hate it. And so I was just praying all morning that I would not throw up, and that was a prayer answered, because I don't care if I have to deal with stomach pain. I do not want to throw up, especially since I just got my tonsils removed. Like, can you imagine the acid on my, like, throat? Like, oh gosh. And through the nausea, I was just shaking all day. I did not feel good at all. I had a ton of gas this day, so I must have been having, like, some serious stomach issues, because I was burping and farting, like, literally all day. And the weird thing is, throughout my whole entire surgery experience, I yawned and hiccuped so much. And those were the two things that hurt the most, was when, besides swallowing, but like hiccuping and yawning, those things hurt so bad. And every single day, multiple times a day, I was hiccuping and yawning. I've never done that so much in my life. Okay, day 8, I promise we're almost there. Or day 7, I'm sorry. Day 7, I ate 2 full eggs. My throat barely even hurt when swallowing. I was super constipated this day. Like, I was starting to have serious stomach issues, and I tried going to the bathroom. I drank like multiple of those, like, trying to like get it flowing down there type of drink. And the Oxy also makes you super constipated, so that's why I was having some issues. Day 7 was the day that I was actually feeling a lot better. I ate mac and cheese for dinner, hooray, and I also was talking a lot more. Now we're going to go through days 8 to 10. I was talking a lot, I was in no pain, but I had a weird taste in my mouth. And I think it was like my scabs, because these days, like day 8 through like yesterday, my breath did not smell very good at all. And I think it was because my scabs were starting to like fall off and stuff. And yes, so the back of your throat is like white when you get your tonsils removed, and eventually your scabs will like fall off. And so my breath stunk. And I had a weird taste in my mouth, and I think it was because I was tasting the scabs in the back of my mouth, and it was kind of gross. Days 8 through 9, I was still regularly taking my medicine, but I was barely in any pain, like when I was swallowing or just sitting around. Day 11, this is like day 11 through now. And so I haven't been taking my medicine at night, and I only take medicine when I need it. So I have not taken any medicine today. I did take medicine once yesterday, but I have been in like barely any pain. Day 11 was the first night that I decided that I was going to sleep in my bed, and it took me like an hour to fall asleep. I was tossing and turning all night, and I was naturally waking up when I was supposed to take my medicine, so I didn't even have to set an alarm. I was just waking up all the time, even though I wasn't like taking medicine. And for the last couple of days, I have just woke up and I have just been exhausted and super, super tired. And over my surgery, I have lost 5 pounds, which I think is a lot to lose in 2 weeks. So, I just will put a thing out there that like, make sure that you are eating, because I feel like that's definitely not healthy at all. And I just want everyone to be safe and stay healthy. And I definitely have been eating a lot better now. I mean, I don't think it's a necessarily bad thing that I lost 5 pounds. I definitely think that it got my eating back on track, because I have been eating a lot less than I normally was beforehand. And so that's definitely a better thing. To be honest with you, I really think that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and maybe that's because I prepared myself to be in a lot of pain, but to be honest, it really wasn't that bad. So really, like, don't be super scared about it. Just take your medicine when you need to. Try not to sleep through your alarms. I know that you don't really have control over that. And don't take Oxy by itself. Like, I was taking Tylenol and acetaminophen every 6 hours, like rotating. Here's my schedule. At 12:30, I took ibuprofen. Then at 3:30, I took Tylenol. Then at 6:30, I took ibuprofen again, and that same cycle happened. So I recommend to continue that even if you're in minimal pain. And then if you need more meds, then take the Oxy. But yeah, like I was saying, it's really like a really bad sore throat. You obviously won't know what that feeling is like until you're there. And I just encourage you to, yes, prepare yourself, but it's not the worst pain that you will ever be in. The most my pain got to was probably a 6 or 7. And I mean, that's because I wasn't taking my medicine, I was swallowing hard pills, and I wasn't crushing them up. My mom actually did end up getting me liquid medicine, so that also is another option if you can't swallow the pills at the moment. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my story, and I will see you in my next video. Have a blessed day, guys.